What's going on, people? Welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with myself, Guni, and Younes on a very pivotal day on what is could be Chelsea's new future and in the history of Chelsea Football Club. But obviously, before we get into that, make sure you smash up that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. We are on the road to 10k, but help us get to 8 first. We're not too far from that, so make sure you smash up that subscribe button. Younes, how are you doing today on what could be a pivotal day in Chelsea's history?
I mean, yeah, well, there's nothing that's been said yet. Little whispers here and there, but I mean, then again, talking about media over the last 24 hours, mate. At this point, I think the best route, of course of action, is to go outside Stamford Bridge and wait to hear from them directly. That's the only way you're going to get true information. Good. Looking forward to the weekend. We got Wolves. Know what to think of that. Wolves have got nothing to play for. We've kind of got something to play for now. Hopefully it works in our favor. But yeah, hopefully today is the beginning of the end of this entire saga. Fingers crossed.
And what it is that we are referring to is that today is actually the end of the 5-day exclusivity period that Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Consortium have been given in terms of talks with Chelsea and to be able to facilitate the actual sale, which means getting the money together, getting the Premier League to certify their ownership test and all that. So right now, the way it's looking, because there are people that are saying, well, what if they don't want to meet to this term? What if they don't want to meet to that term? I was watching some of Matisse's video. He had an interview with a guy from CBS. You should definitely check that out after the video.
Yeah. Ben Jacobs.
Ben Jacobs, that's the one. And he was actually saying, along the lines of, at this point, given the fact that it is an exclusive deal to them, they have got the finances, and also the government are insisting that it is a fast sell, that this is very likely to happen. In terms of fans that are worried at how this could really, how we could slip up and we're not going to meet the May 31st date, it's looking very unlikely that's going to happen. It's pretty much looking like Todd Boehly and Clear Lake will be the owners. But Younes, in these 5 days, we have had a lot of drama from the media. Obviously, we are Chelsea Football Club. So this is what happens. A lot of false chat. We're going to come on to Kaveh Solhekol or whatever this silly guy's name is. Yeah, and we're going to talk about him and some of the statements that he made. But Younes, let's just clear the air a little bit. Tell us a bit about what you know so far about this Friday, May the 6th deadline day.
Well, this is the thing. What do I know? I know as much as everyone else now. Basically, I know as much as all of you, because I look to. I don't. When I do content, you know me.
Yeah.
I don't spout about anyone and everyone. I reckon there are certain people that are very well connected to the club that we look to for good information. Over the last 24 hours, even they've been put into doubt now. So I know as much as the next guy. But in terms of the formalities and what today is meant to be, for those that don't know, today is meant to be the final day of that exclusivity period, which means that a purchase agreement should be signed today for Todd Boehly and his consortium to formalize the sale of Chelsea Football Club and become the new buyers on paper, basically. If they don't, and that exclusivity period ends, then everything opens up again. And that's where other bidders have the right to come in with, if they want a new bid or something on top of that, or Younes, to try and get in touch and convince.
Just on that point that you just mentioned, because I've just got to stop you there. Because there are stipulations that do come with this deadline. So if by the 31st the club isn't sold, then technically the current license, the special quote unquote license that's been given to Chelsea to operate, expires. Yeah. Now, are we in big trouble if that happens?
Yeah, big time. Like that can't happen. I don't think that can happen.
But this is.
And I don't think it will happen. But
this is where I'm here to calm nerves now.
Yeah.
Because if that does happen, right? Let's say, for example, we're in the process of the sale, and there are one or two things that just need to get over the deadline, but might take a couple of days extra. The government can technically extend it, or we can actually reinstate the license. It's not a problem. So, like, in terms of not meeting that date, I think a lot of fear mongering has also been put on May 31st, May 31st, May 31st. Because look, when you look at it relatively, you got to look at the type of asset that we're dealing with here. And to allow an asset like Chelsea Football Club to just go under like that wouldn't be good for anybody. And if you know anything about the borough of Fulham, is it? I always forget the name.
Chelsea and Kensington.
Chelsea and Kensington. Sorry. Yeah. Chelsea and Kensington. Yeah, that. Trust me, it's full of wealth. They're not going to want to see that. So there are a lot of extenuating factors as to why I think this cannot go left. And besides the glaringly obvious point that Todd Boehly and his consortium are ready, and apparently here in this statement, in this article from the Telegraph, the Premier League have actually carried out the background checks on the Boehly group already. Now, it doesn't say whether they've passed or whether they failed, but it just goes to show that in terms of the check being processed and done, it's already been done. So that's a good thing in terms of timing. But obviously, sad to see Roman go. However, there's been some interesting statements from the manager, Mr. Thomas Tuchel, regarding his thoughts on the takeover. So one of them, which I think is a bit of a subliminal, is a bit of a shot. You get me? He was throwing a bit of a left or right, and he didn't really want to go in on the haymaker. But this is from Simon Phillips.
He's just jabbing.
Yeah, he's just jabbing. You get me? He's just jabbing. He's just letting them know. The little boop on the nose. Boop, boop. Yeah, that's what he's on. So TT, this is on Simon Phillips's Twitter, by the way.
Yep.
The top two teams, this is quoting Thomas Tuchel, the top two teams bring quality from outside. You need to be very good in scouting, recruiting, and decision-making to improve the squad. Oh, now listen, I'm not done there, because
thank God for Tuchel.
That could be very open-ended. It could mean anything. When you put it into context with this, right? Again, this is from Simon Johnson. Regarding the Chelsea takeover and the preferred bidder, Tuchel says, after what I heard last week, I'm confident. Does this sound like a man that's considering his options?
No, not at all. And I've not been worried. I've heard some people say he might walk. He won't. He won't. It seems like everything is at least in place. If this was a different club, if we were Man United and the way they're functioning, or if we were somewhere else, then at that point, your hands are tied. But at Chelsea now, and if anything, once this whole saga's done, life will get easier for TT, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, even with Roman and everything that he's done, for managers, it's not exactly been the best environment to work in because you're constantly under pressure. There's a thing in the back of your head. I might get sacked. I might, even if I do well, I might just get sacked. It's a possibility at Chelsea. We know this. I think that will begin to decrease. I think him having had to already work with the circumstances we've had will only get easier if he were to get backed with good recruitment and good scouting. And I think he'd actually, and he's already said that he loves life at Chelsea. So I can't imagine how much more he's going to love it if things actually go in his favor. So no, I reckon he's going to be completely fine.
Now let's have a look at matters on the pitch relating to our future going forward, because there are actually some golden opportunities to get some names out of the door. Obviously, some fans feel differently about some players, but I'm in a lot of agreement with some of the names that are on this list. Now, this is from an account called Transfer News Live. Some of these names, I'm not entirely sure whether they will be leaving Chelsea Football Club, but I do know a lot of their contracts do end this summer. So obviously we know Rudiger's leaving and Christensen's leaving. Barcelona and Real Madrid, the two are going to. Kepa is also looking for his way out. Obviously World Cup is coming up. He's trying to get some play time. He's definitely not going to be getting the nod over Edouard Mendy. And then Azpilicueta as well could be going over to Barcelona. Marcos Alonso, we're starting to see he's openly planning to leave Stamford Bridge. He wants to go back to Spain. Ross Barkley as well. I don't think his contract runs out this summer. I think it's the following, but we will be trying to get him out the door. Loftus-Cheek is an interesting one. Christian Pulisic, there's been rumblings. Obviously, his father's been speaking as well. Timo Werner, we've heard throughout the season that there's a huge possibility that he could be going. And then there's also Romelu Lukaku as well. Lukaku for me on this list is the one that I think is the most difficult deal to get done, obviously due to the finances that need to be involved to get him out of the club. Obviously a year into his contract that he just signed last season, it's not going to be very easy. But just going back to the point, there's an opportunity for Tuchel to build. If he can get rid of some of these players, quote unquote, deadwood from this club, there's an opportunity for him to start bringing in his own players. Now, does that statement of him being excited of what's coming, do you think that signifies that he's actually going to be backed, or he's going to work alongside like-minded football brains?
I think he's going to be backed. I'm optimistic because I think it's clear as day for anyone to see. And for new buyers now, who it's even in their interests to have a good impression and to put Chelsea on the map. You're coming in, first thing they have to do is invest. And that's pretty much what the whole entire process was of this whole sale, with the Rain Group and the due diligence and the background checks and the conversations, is to be convinced that whoever's going to take over Chelsea are going to invest in all areas of the club and the stadium. So I'm fully convinced that whoever comes in, and we've already heard little whispers about Todd Boehly and how he's ready to completely back the plans that are around the men's team and Tuchel and all of that. On top of that, the women and the academy and all of that we already know. But in terms of recruitment, I think Tuchel's going to be backed. Now, what I do want to say on the basis of that is it won't be easy, but if there's enough investment, enough persuasion, enough good planning, and getting the deadwood out to try and recuperate as much money as possible, our net spend could be looking good as well. If it does happen, I do want to let everyone watching know, though, we can't expect too much. I don't want us to recruit, bring everyone that Tuchel wants, and then go, we're winning the league next season.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're looking at Liverpool and City, they're far ahead. We are trying to catch up and get to that level, which I think with one good summer, we can, cut the gap by quite a lot. But we've got to be a little bit patient for Tuchel to build. This is about Tuchel building. I think he will be given the chance to build.
No, 100%. I think so as well. Now, I think this is really, I wasn't planning to really talk about it, but I think given the topic, it is the right time to sort of bring this up. But we are starting to see a few interesting things going on in the transfer market in terms of Chelsea being linked to players. Now, one of the players, and quite a few people in the comments has asked, is Koulibaly from Napoli. Now, to some, his signings might raise a few eyebrows. Now, why it makes sense to me is because I do believe it's on a free transfer, first of all, although he is in talks with.
Is it?
I think it is. I think it's a free transfer, 1 year left, but it's not going to be very expensive. That much I do know. But he is in talks with Barcelona. Xavi is interested in signing him, but he has been offered to Chelsea.
Then he's definitely on the free.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
If Barca are talking, he's on the free, because them lot are moving like free agent FC.
Right. Well, yeah, they're saying he's got 1 year left. So.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Barca then. They found some cash.
Right. Now, here's my thing, and hear me out, because quite a few people are saying, oh, this is not 2017. This is not 2018. We have to remember that we've lost Rudiger.
Yeah.
And that in terms of seniority, when you look at our back line, and potentially Azpilicueta going, Alonso definitely going out the door. Not saying that, especially in Alonso's case, that these were leaders that the younger should be looking up to like that. But that's a lot of experience walking out of the door, and you've got to replace some of that.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't, and especially in a defensive position, you can't just have your goalkeeper and Thiago Silva, who's going to be 38 next season, by the way, but is definitely staying at the club. You can't rely on them all season to be marshalling that defense. As much as I am, I'm very much for signing young players. There has to be a balance at some stage. And Koulibaly, from what we know of him, has reached, for some say world-class levels, some would say slightly below that, but we cannot deny the guy has got he's got ability, and he's got a very good reputation for a very good reason. I haven't watched him as of in recent seasons. I'm not gonna lie to you and sit here and say I'm a Koulibaly expert. Absolutely not. Which is why I'm being very careful about how I'm rating this guy, because I'm just speaking out of honesty here. But from what I know, if that quality is still there, and just that centre back position naturally being a position where, the older you get, the more you understand, you grow into your role and you become the better all-round defender. You get me? I don't think that's a bad idea. What would you think of a Koulibaly signing?
It's good experience for sure. And I think he's a really good defender. I remember when we were linked with him properly and we were meant to be getting him, and it never happened. Now I know some people have doubts on the fact that he's 30. There's not that much long left. To be honest, I would put it as an option. I wouldn't base it as this is our number one target. I wouldn't. Because I think you might be able to get younger defenders who are just as solid, but definitely an option because his experience could be key, and he's not that old. So yeah, and even on the international level, I think he's done fantastic. It weird. You know what's crazy in Italy? When I look at players that you can get, if there was one position that I think would benefit us or any Premier League team to get from Serie A, it's defenders. Why? Because the way that they play in Serie A, I don't know, they leave themselves so open. So the defenders have a lot to deal with. And I don't know if that's just tactically the way that Italian football is, but defenders have a lot to do. Whereas like here, you find teams that play in low blocks. You find teams that close up. They're physical, but they don't have to move much. You're talking like Burnley, for example. But in Italy, there's a lot to do, even as a central defender. So that can actually come in handy when moving to the Premier League. That's the only position that I look at and go, you know what? Yeah, that could benefit us in terms of Italian football. So, no, Koulibaly would be good. Not number one, but good.
I'm just gonna skim through the other targets. Obviously, there's Gvardiol from RB Leipzig, left-footed, young centre back, can also play left back as well. I think he's a very, very good option. Obviously, we've got Chelsea loanee Levi Colwill, who's also left-footed and has also been putting very, very solid performances and is very highly rated amongst everybody at Huddersfield and Chelsea Football Club. There's also Jules Koundé, which looks like a deal that looks the most easiest one to happen, given we already agreed the deal last season, but I wasn't able to get over the line, but he still seems very interested to join the club. Also as well, now I was very convinced that Tchouaméni was going to be certified nailed on to go to Real Madrid, but it appears that Real Madrid are trying to get the Mbappe deal done and then get onto Tchouaméni, because apparently the Mbappe deal is not completely wrapped up. So that gives other teams time. Now, the bad thing is with that is Liverpool are hell-bent on signing this guy, and they are in advanced talks with Tchouaméni. But there's another stumbling block there for Liverpool is the price tag. They're not willing to pay up to 80 million because they're asking for 60 million up front and then an extra 20 in bonuses. I think it's an accurate value of this guy and his potential ceiling, right? Not saying he's the full package now, but the potential that you can see from him, I reckon it's an accurate figure. Could have paid 25 M's last season, but that's our own fault, poor recruitment. So I think the door's open for that. And then a lot of people are saying that, and I also believe Todd Boehly will make a statement signing as well. That's usually what happens when a takeover happens. There will be a takeover signing to appease the fans. And I believe that statement signing, if we do not get Tchouaméni, will be Declan Rice. I strongly believe that it could be.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I don't think West Ham are going to ask for 150 mil. No way, because next summer I think he's down to like a year or 18 months or so, and the price comes down. Now,
More the reason for them to stick with that price for now.
I guess, but I don't see it happening, especially if they're not going to get any other bids in this. I don't think Man United or anyone bid 150.
No, no one will.
So they're going to be forced to sell, I think. And another area to look at as well is also attacking areas. I'll come on to the players that I want gone, but I do want to move on to Kaveh and what Roman said as well, real quick. I will answer the super chat. But in attacking areas, the players that we should be keeping an eye on, not saying we're going to sign all of this, definitely Darwin Núñez is one that apparently we're interested in. Another one as well, and who is refusing to sign a contract, and I've been saying this for the longest, is Ousmane Dembele. He's still not going to sign a contract, and Tuchel likes him. Tuchel loves the guy. So do not be surprised if you see him in a Chelsea shirt. The good thing is with him is that he has actually been playing for a while without any injury. Fingers crossed that him and his team have come to a way to manage his reoccurring injuries. You get me? If that's good, if that's the case, and he can continue on and play more consistently, that's a player. Absolute player. Nobody's denying that, but still massive risk. But Younes, do you know what? How about you answer this super chat real quick before we move on to the journos and what Roman said?
Who will I sell besides those that are already leaving? So the ones that are already leaving are like Christensen, Rudiger, maybe Aspie, Alonso perhaps. Yeah, all them lot. Okay, Barkley, Drinkwater, Batshuayi, Bakayoko.
Drinkwater's contract ends this summer.
Get rid, throw him in the bin.
Yeah, he's out.
Bakayoko. And then if you're looking more in terms of like who's actually involved in the first team squad, I would consider Timo, honestly. I'd consider Jorginho. Alonso, we already know now it's pretty much going to happen, so I would have said him anyway. Someone said Babarama, and he's still on our books. Bloody hell.
He is. So is Matt Miazga and Batshuayi.
God, yeah, I said
Batshuayi. But they will run out next summer.
Throw them away, not literally, but you know, like clubs come and take. It's like a car boot sale. You know, 50p, no, I'll take it. Done. Who else? I mean, the most complicated one is going to be Lukaku, obviously. In terms of money and finances, but him too. I do want to say Loftus-Cheek, if I'm real.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that.
Because there's levels. He's not a bad player, but there's levels, and I don't think he'll hit that standard consistently. Yeah. Malang Sarr was meant to be a money-making deal anyway, so let's make some money.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, going forward, let's be real, even a Hudson-Odoi, Bayern, are you actually still interested? You know, because if you want, come in. There's a lot that we need to get rid of. It's actually mad. So yeah,
100%. But thank you very much, Bartek, for the super chat. I hope that answers your question. I'm pretty much in agreement with Younes, including some of the forgotten players that are thrown in there as well. There's a whole bunch we're going to get rid of this summer, and next summer is going to be huge in terms of like clear outs. It's going to be huge. The opportunity to rebuild is going to be
quick one. Joseph, yes, it's a car boot sale. Is that just a garage sale? Yeah, in America that's what they call a garage sale. It's the same thing.
There you go. All right, so I want to come on to Roman Abramovich and his Comunicado Oficial on the Chelsea website. In response to some of the absolutely ridiculous fear-mongering claims that Chelsea could go bankrupt at the end of the season, liquidation, administration, all of that nonsense. Abramovich, and on top of that, the loan that he is apparently asked to be repaid. But Mr. Abramovich himself has released a statement through a spokesperson, because we know Roman is too gangster to address anybody. You love Roman, bruv. Yeah, listen, Roman's allowed. He's too G'd up to answer anything. Yeah, Abramovich, the spokesperson, added, has not asked for any loan to be repaid to him. Suggestions are entirely false. Entirely. Yeah, let me just put that in. As are suggestions that Mr. Abramovich has increased the price of the club sale last minute. So, in the bin you go. To all those journos that was saying, "Oh, he's increased the price. Mr. Roman wants his money back. Chelsea are in the mud. Administration, relegation, everything. You lot are screwed. Your club's in the mud. Let's have a party." Well, how do you feel now? How do you feel now, Mr. Kaveh Solhekol? Yeah, whatever your flipping name is, you absolute donut. That's what you are. You are an absolute donut, and not the good type of donut either. The one with custard in the middle. Who the fuck likes custard donut? Yeah, that's what you are. That's exactly what you are. You are a custard donut with all of the sugar just like not on the donut, and it's also been there for like 8 days. So you could throw it at somebody and you could like leave a lump on their head. That's what you are, bruv. You are just the donut that nobody wants in the corner of Morrison's, just looking for a home. That is you. Yeah, that is you. And this is me being nice. Yeah, Kaveh. I've been able to do that without swearing too much. But you need to get your facts right. So in the bin you go. Roman doesn't make statements willy-nilly. So for him to come out, you are truly in the bin. In the bin you go. How you are still with Sky Sports. You have single-handedly brought their reputation down. Like, it was already on the ropes before this, but you have dropped it into an abyss that I never thought it would be seen. It is actually poor. You are ashamed to yourself, to journalism, to Chelsea Football Club. Nobody wants you on Sky Sports. You need to leave, bruv. Yeah. And I don't care if this does me on monetization. I'll gladly take that one on the chin for Roman Abramovich. There's no throwing him under the bus here. And if I was on his yacht eating mystery meat like Frank Lampard, I would not deny him. I'd never deny him, yeah, because I am true to Roman and I appreciate what this man has done in the club. Yeah, Guni's talking some wild stuff, but I do not care. Yeah, this is Roman Abramovich and he has proved them wrong. But
there's no custard donuts on Roman's yacht.
Absolutely not. Yeah, it's all freshly warm baked, Krispy Kreme-esque off the conveyor belt, nice and perfect donuts on there, perfectly. Yeah, that's what it is.
Nah, Kaveh is a mad one, you know, because there's you can just immediately tell every time there's a story and they break to him in the studio. It's like he inflates the story times 1,000 just by the way he presents the information. Like normally someone would go, yeah, you know, so the latest with Chelsea is, you know, and he goes, so the latest at Chelsea is that Roman wants 1.6 billion repaid, and he inflates the whole story like it's the end of the world, bruv. It's nah, man. It's not the way to do it. And now, not too long after, we actually find out through the statement that none of it is true. And this isn't just solely for Kaveh and Sky Sports. This has disappointed me because there's people. Kaveh's not meant to be well connected with Chelsea. He just works for Sky Sports, so he does what he does. But anyway, when you're looking at some of the ones that are in the press room asking Tuchel questions, they have sources within the club. Like, you know who they are. I know who they are. We present their information on our videos constantly because we know that they are reliable. Even they're in the mud because they were the ones, or at least the ones that they work for, are the ones distributing articles of, £500 million increase on the fee. 1.6 billion. Roman wants that repaid. None of it was actually legit. The only legit information is that it was true that the loan is actually frozen by the government or European sanction, whichever you want to take it, and therefore Roman can't take that. Happy days. Apparently, Roman's not got much of a problem with that, and it won't interfere with the sale. So, it's ludicrous. It just makes you really, really look at it and go, we don't know who to believe anymore. Like,
there's a fact. And Bartek, thank you again for the super chat. Kaveh Solhekol just wanted to make a big story, but at what expense? Because he's in the mud. The fact that
fully.
the fact that Roman has actually stepped out and done comunicado oficial has mudded him differently, because this guy doesn't address nothing, but he's like, no, mate. Yeah. How about this? Hold some of that. Yeah. But look, my thing is that since he put it out with that much chest and confidence, I think you deserve to let the people know, especially the Chelsea fans, where you got this information from.
Yeah.
Because it'll be interesting. And was it just him that reported that news?
To be honest, no. This is the thing. Everyone reported it. Like, this is how mad it is. And then Chelsea have come out and gone, what are you on about? Like, that's nuts. Like, there are certain outlets I expect that from. And if those certain outlets, I'm not going to name them, you guys already know who they are. Let's just say them tabloids, the tabloid style ones. I expect that from them. I wouldn't pay much attention to it. I wouldn't even mention it in a video, right? Simple. Even if Chelsea released a statement and went, this isn't true, if that info was just the tabloids, I'd be like, okay, look, this is what they do. They're tabloids. But when you're hearing legit sources start telling you, and then Chelsea come out and deny, and all of them, exactly. There you are. Comment on the screen. Read that. Tells you everything you need to know.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But look, the situation is far from the truth. And you know what? In the space of 24 hours, yeah, what a difference a day makes. If anybody knows that tune, pick up yourself. How I know that tune is because I used to produce music, so my crate digging skills were on a different level. My mind is a jukebox. I know like old school tunes that I have no right knowing from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and all that from sampling. But big up all the musicians out there that know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, it's looking like today we can get to the conclusion. Well, at least the first contract being signed, as it says here. So it says on this Telegraph report, Todd Boehly hopes to sign the first contract in a Chelsea takeover worth £4 billion on Friday, which is today, with Roman Abramovich preparing to seek the formal approval from government from the deal. You can't really get more official than that, can you?
No,
it's pretty much done. The Telegraph Sport understands club executives are now preparing for the prospect of formally naming Boehly to ministers in their request for an amended license for a sale. In theory, a deal could complete well within the government's May 31st deadline, despite a logjam prompted by Abramovich raising objections over his 1.6 billion loan being frozen. The Premier League has already carried out, I've already explained that, it's already carried out the background checks on the Boehly group. With a signed purchase agreement set to be offered to Boehly today, all parties are hopeful that the government's standoff with Abramovich over the loan can quickly be resolved. On Thursday, the outgoing Chelsea owner issued a statement denying he had reneged on his promise to write off the 1.6 billion debt amid the tense standoff with ministers. So that's where we are right now. So at this point, we're really sitting down, we're twiddling our thumbs and just waiting for, you know, the white smoke to come out of Stamford Bridge, the announcement to be made that Todd Boehly and the Clear Lake Consortium are the new owners. And another thing that I need people to do as well before we end the stream, because we are coming to an end, is after this, please go over to Matisse's channel and watch his latest stream with Ben Jacobs from CBS. It is very, very detailed. You know how well Matisse presents his information and how he also hosts as well. He's done it excellently here as well. Very, very informative, very good watch for all of you. I'm going to go back and watch it again. Younes, I'm sure you've watched it, or if not, you're going to go and watch that.
I haven't. I need to finish it, so I'm definitely
Matisse has been an absolute gem for this fan base over the past month or so, and I don't mean it in a road sense, because some man go, rah, man, I call him Matisse a gem. Nah, I mean like he's an actual diamond. You get me? Yeah, an actual diamond he has been. So definitely very informative. Go and check that out for sure. Younes, what do you have coming up, or what have you already posted on your channel?
So for me, just the latest with all this as of yesterday, and exposing all the media nonsense after that statement got released. But today, later on, I'll be doing my preview for Chelsea versus Wolves tomorrow. Tomorrow there will not be any watch along on my channel. So there, yeah, just for time, I'm going to be too busy for something very, very important. And therefore, I will give the match review tomorrow after the game is done, as I normally do.
Well, here's the solution to not doing the watch along is if they are looking for a home to watch another watch along, they can come
here.
over to Man Knows Football
Done.
and do the watch along over here. Very entertaining. Poor language sometimes, and yes, sometimes I do go over the top. So if that is something that you're wary of, I am not as professional and well disciplined as Younes here, who does a very good job. Me, I let the C word fly when I'm really, really upset, and it's cost me monetization. So just give you the heads up.
That's why. There have been moments I'm like, no, don't do it, Younes, don't do it. Okay, I won't do it. But yeah, man. So that's basically it. And then obviously after Saturday, keep up to date with what's going on, see if the sales wrapped up and news elsewhere. And obviously looking forward to the FA Cup final. And before I go, what I want to say, I don't know if you've heard about Rebo.
Yeah, his admission.
What an absolute
wow.
See, this is where I would normally wash my mouth so I don't get demonetized. Yeah. But he actually had the guts to come out and say, yeah, they should have had a penalty. He said, I don't think it's right when Chelsea fans were claiming 4 or 5 penalties. That's not right because everyone that knows football and the laws of the game knows there should have been a penalty given. Get out of here, man.
Just get, bruv.
Get out. Stop talking. Go and just stop talking about football. Go and, I don't know, go to a cave.
Apparently, bruv, I saw like an interview he done after that game. Bruv, his life was hell after that. It was literally hell. They put him through, they dragged him through the fire. Like, it's not funny, like some of the stuff he went through. But boy, like, if to people that think he hasn't suffered enough, as much as I hate that decision and what he did, I hate the refereeing side of him. I don't know the personal side of the man. You understand? And it's not fair for me to sit here and say, yeah, you deserve all that. That guy went through absolute hell. He did. And he probably still does to this day.
100%. Yeah, his career ended that night.
Yeah, that was it. It was over for him. It was over for him.
Also, mate, you brought that on yourself. Like that, I've never seen shocking refereeing in my life like that. That was blatant corruption.
I'm not ashamed to say, yeah. You see why that was going on? I was literally rolling on the floor in my carpet in disgust. Like I had just held a 2-footed tackle. I was going mad. Like when Drogba had his arms, I was going mad like an absolute baby, just cussing.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, we've been done. We've been complete. Oh my god! I wanted to punch the TV. I wanted to do something. I was like, what can we do? Like this is this game needs to be replayed or something. This is a joke. Yeah, man. Nah, but that was scandalous. And that was blatant UEFA corruption. So
yeah,
100%. If he's involved in that, mate, you're involved in corruption that way.
Got to be investigated.
Put that on yourself.
Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway. It's Chelsea Football Club, so they're
13 years later.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to look into that, given that we are Chelsea Football Club. We always get the short end of the stick. And Jake says they had to escort him with security to his hotel after the game. Not surprised at all. But yeah, people, make sure you smash up that subscribe button. Help us get to 10K. Also, smash up that like button as well. And also, YouTube have introduced a new feature. So this is probably the only time I'm going to mention it. Since it's a new feature, I thought, you know what, let me just throw it out there. It is called a super thanks or something?
Super thanks, yeah.
Yeah, it's the super thanks button. So basically what it is if you watch this after the stream,
somewhere down
there, you just hit the super thanks. And yeah, it is what it is. The rest is very much appreciated. Similar to a super chat when you watch live, but you can do this one when we are not live. So just thought I'd throw that one out there to anyone that does want to help the channel grow a little bit more. But Younes, thank you very, very much for joining us today. Appreciate you. As for this channel, what's coming up tomorrow, I will be doing a preview and a watch along. Or I might even do the preview today. I don't know. But I'll definitely be doing a watch along. And to those that would usually be on Younes's channel, since he's not doing a watch along, get your ass over here. Do you know what I mean? Get yourselves over here. Yeah, Man Knows Football. We ain't too bad over here. Give us our numbers. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, son? Get yourself over here.
I'll send as much over as I can later, geezer.
There you go. There you go.
I've
There
got
you go.
covered.
Yeah, there you go. But big up everybody that is in the chat, and we are definitely going to be keeping our eyes open on this whole situation with the takeover. Oh yeah, before I go, I got something special for you people them on Sunday. Yeah, I've got something special. The return. Yeah, but I don't know if it's a permanent return, but his face will be on camera again after months of trying to convince him. Monster will be showing his face on Man Knows Football on Sunday. Yes, I have dragged him
Where's
out
that
of the
guy
depth.
been?
We're gonna find out on Sunday.
In a cave
We're
or something?
gonna find out on Sunday. Monster will be here, yeah. And Monster, I know you're watching this. You've given me your word. I've got the messages. Now I'll put you on the spot to the people them on Man Knows Football.
You can't back out now.
So yeah, you cannot back out. You gotta come on Sunday. But big up Monster, big up everybody that's watching, man. Appreciate all of you wherever you are.